I made 5 figures in side hustles this year after making $0 last year, and these are the 2 steps I followed that I really think anyone can follow. I'm going to include the actual side hustles I did at the end of the video. So the first step I did is I put the majority of my assets into relatively safe things like index funds. Then you set aside a portion. I decided to bet that on myself, and I was okay with losing it. And that brings me to my second step. The general framework I had on betting a percent of my money on myself, like let's say even just 5%, was that I think the era of experts is dead. People would rather read someone's Substack or listen to a podcast than listen to CNN or Fox News. And so I started by creating a podcast this year with my friends on tech because that's what we know the most about. From there, we monetized the podcast through our sponsorships. And this brings me to my second side hustle, which is one of our sponsorships is a company called Kalshi. And actually, before they're ever a sponsor, all 3 of us started paper trading, which is something that Maya did with meme coins back in the day in like the crypto hype. And so we started telling each other like what events we thought were going to resolve to yes or no, and then tracking if we put money in it, what the returns would have been. And what's cool about Kalshi is I actually used to work at a bank during internships in college, and traders historically have been like white men from Harvard that love to golf and like waking up at 4 a.m. That's just not me. Now you can trade on anything from your bed, and the founders of Kalshi actually worked those training jobs, and we're like, wait, like why would we not just democratize this? I think where the whole framework that I've had this whole time of like, oh, experts are dead comes into play is I might not be a political commentator, but I still study politics. Like really early in Zoran's campaign, I noticed that his campaign was different in terms of the amount of effort he was putting into it, the amount of doors he was door knocking. If you'd put your money into Zoran this summer, you would have literally gotten a 300 to 400% return. And it's not just serious things, it's also fun things like sports, like Taylor Swift, like Dancing with the Stars this week. Like if you've been following along, you might have a take that's more correct than Kalshi odds, which is basically aggregating everyone's take. So it's anything where you think you have an edge. And I think that's really the future. So it's literally a bet on yourself. We have a link in our bio. So if you want to create an account, you actually get a $10 bonus specifically with our link. But I'm actually so excited for this era of decentralized media, decentralized finance, and the fact that everybody has access to things that you used to need a certain education or a certain job to have access. As the podcast grew, we kept reaching out to them, and then finally they were like, okay, yeah, you guys can work for us even though you're a smaller size than the average creators we work with. And so that's how we got the sponsorship. Okay, my phone died, but that's how my second side hustle of Kalshi has played into my first side hustle of my podcast. And those are the types of network effects your side hustles can have long term.